So today I'll be reviewing another fragrance from Fragrance World. This is Hardwood Oud Perfume. It's a very minimalistic designed fragrance, and that there is not so much drama to it. Feels quite premium. There is a dent here, I don't know, just a depression under this fragrance in the bottom, and then you find the Fragrance World inscription or sticker rather under this fragrance. And then I'm seeing I don't know if it's supposed to be a batch number. I'm seeing 4 here. It's a very minimalistic design. Feels very good in the hand, and it's dense. The bottling feels very rich, this definitely leads towards a premium feel and handling. I love it. It feels good, feels premium, feels dense. It's simplistic. There's not so much drama with the presentation of this fragrance. It's simple, straight up, sharp, aged, cut glass. Very premium. It's actually heavy. It doesn't feel cheap in the presentation. I mean, for me, I would give it a straight 8/10, which is super good. So this for me, it's very good. Nobody's going to see this and feel like it's a cheap fragrance by any means. Feels extremely, gorgeous. I would have given it 10, but not for the cap. The cap is quite, plastic. But then it's you just get to know that when you actually pick it up. If you get to pick a glance or just look at it without picking it up, you never can tell that the cap is not quite dense, but the bottle is super dense. The atomizer is also very much good. It's pressed very well. Not so much drama. There's a simple sticker here. And then Hardwood Oud Perfume. Nothing else. Simplistic design. I'm mostly even drawn towards fragrances with this kind of presentation in their bottling. Very easy, simplistic, minimalistic, and premium. 10/10. But for the bottling or for the cap, I would say 8/10. The scent profile here is it's a kind of perfume you get to listen to what you're smelling. You get to listen to what you're smelling. I wouldn't say it's a complex scent, but for me, I just feel like it has some dramatic moment while being a linear scent. The top notes of this fragrance is built on mahogany, pepper, and blood orange. I don't know what that is about. I've never smelled blood orange before. I don't know what blood orange is supposed to smell like. But I've smelled something in the direction of mahogany, so I can tell when something smells mahogany or has a mahogany note. This definitely has it. And usually whenever there's mahogany in the composition of any fragrance, it usually tends to want to cloud almost every other note in that fragrance, which was also clearly seen here. The mahogany here is overwhelming. It literally almost overwhelms the other notes in this very fragrance. Or it feels like the amount of mahogany that was deposited on this very fragrance was a little too much. Maybe it was deliberate or it was just meant to be that way, but there is a serious flush of mahogany here. It's visible to the blind. In the middle note, it's said to have cognac and sage, some notes like that. I don't know where that note is coming from. I've never heard that before. I really don't even know how that's supposed to smell like. I've never run into any notes like that in my journey as a fragrance reviewer. I'm still in the process. For now, I've never picked up any note like that. I don't know how that smells. It's hard to tell if that's happening in this fragrance or not. For the top notes, I'm sure of the red pepper. There's a red pepper situation, but it's very toned. And then you have the mahogany expression that almost clouds the entire fragrance to the base note even. The base note of this fragrance is built on vanilla, amber, tonka bean, and sandalwood. You're definitely going to have that situation in this fragrance, and it feels like it almost compresses all that scent into one note, and everything just gets to smell mahogany. That stresses me. There is no engagement. There is no, it's just committed to mahogany as a note, and it looks like every other note in this fragrance is built around mahogany. Mahogany is the big star, is the big player here. That's what you get. That is what leaves you the impression that this is a linear scent, because the mahogany is straight up in your face and you get to pick that from the beginning to the end of this fragrance. There is no journey with this fragrance when it comes to the scent profile. It's very straightforward. It's very mahogany. It's just a rush of mahogany in your face. And if that's something you are big on, by all means grab it. But usually I like to see the notes in my perfumes interact. It does something to my olfactory nerves. I like to really see how different notes get to interact with each other, and then the whole developmental process of the scent profile. I like to see that build up. This doesn't have that. It's just almost like a straight linear scent that you really need to have a very well-trained nose to actually even pick the other notes in this fragrance. Almost every other note is pretty much so tamed, or it feels like it's built around mahogany. Mahogany takes the stage. That's what you get from the beginning to the end. It's like a strong mahogany note on you, and that's just what it is. You may have some moments of tonka bean, because bulk of the time as well, it's also difficult to suppress tonka bean in the notes of a fragrance. So that also finds expression from time to time. It feels like there are moments, there are times where it passes through. So you just have that wave of tonka bean and then it goes back to oblivion. But the mahogany here is rootlessly seated, heavily grounded from beginning to the end. It stays static. There's no progression in the scent profile. There's no progression in the notes. It's static but properly molded. It feels like it's a well compressed molded scent. Everything was just built to make mahogany shine, and that is what is happening here. So the rating of this very scent profile, I would say, is 6/10. That's the rating for the scent profile. The projection here is so average, and for the price, I think it's okay, it's fair. Considering the price, the projection here is not so strong. You can't also say it's weak. Projection is not weak. For me, I just feel like it's a little above average, so I would say 6/10 projection. The longevity in this perfume does between 5 to 8 hours. That's personally how it's been on me. I don't feel like the longevity here is so good. While it's not so bad in comparison to the price point or price action, I still feel like Fragrance World or whoever was the brain behind this scent, they would have put in maybe some little extra work to make this fragrance pump a little more. It lacks longevity. It lacks staying power. Between 5 to 8, and you have to be very generous with your spray. Trust me. It needs a plethora of spraying to even max out the 8 hours I mentioned. This is 5 to 8 hours. It does that easily on you. From 8 hours, it becomes an intimate scent. You struggle to remind yourself you actually put it on a fragrance. This doesn't do so well in longevity. I don't find it staying power to be interesting or anything outside the normal. It just feels normal. It just feels moderate. For me, 5 to 8 hours is just moderate. It's just average. You can wear this to work in the morning, come back in the evening, and it's all tamed. It's all suppressed. It's nothing outstanding per se, but definitely worthy of mention. Longevity here, 6/10. I don't think there's any siak situation here. Straight up, I would just say 4/10. It's below average. It's not the kind of fragrance that leaves people around you trying to figure you out. It just stays around you. Creates like an air bubble around you, and if anybody just invades your intimate space or personal space, they're definitely going to be blessed by this mahogany, notes. But if nobody gets to be in your immediate space, in your personal space, it will take some cosmologic shift to make anybody perceive this on you. It's hard to sniff this. One really has to kiss you to pick this. Maybe not kiss you, but close to you, if you understand what I mean. It's just a little bit too suppressed in the CIG is not excellent. I say 4/10. It's not the kind of perfume that creates awareness, publicity. There's no There's no public statement here. You just put it on and that's it. If anybody invites you, tries to get a hold, tries to be close to you, or it's inside your immediate space, you are driving, somebody's definitely going to pick this because, space ratio is going to be a lot more collapsed. Under very intimate circumstances, this is going to shine. Outside that, you're going to struggle with being perceived. That's on CH. For me, this is not a fragrance with a very complicated or so much character. It lacks a lot of character. It's just a linear scent. Like I said, a couple of notes making their way all through or putting their best to make mahogany shine. In that way, it feels linear to me. It feels like a linear scent to me. It's too straightforward. It's like mahogany rush. So you want to just smell mahogany, just buy it and smell mahogany already. There's nothing much going on with this, the character of this fragrance. It lacks character. It lacks attitude. There's no personality in this. You just wear this and get to remind yourself from time to time you're on fragrance. Not necessarily a fragrance you want to wear to leave a statement, to leave an impression. This doesn't give me a signature, vibe. I'm not sure anybody wants to smell this way and be known this way as a signature, scent. This is not the kind of fragrance that's going to leave any muscle memory of you on anyone. It's the kind of smell that people smell from time to time and don't even attribute it to perfumes. So it's basic. In summary, it's just a basic fragrance. So it just has some basic elements in it as well. The character is not insane, it's not dramatic, it's not awakening. It's just there. It works perfectly for a very simple person, for a simplistic setup design. You wear this to very simple and simple functions. You can wear it to just about anywhere. It's not a fresh scent. Don't get it twisted. It doesn't smell fresh. It still has that forest kind of smell to it. The tonka bean here also tries to create some dynamics in this fragrance, but the mahogany is so loud that it doesn't give room or leave room for any other note to find expression. That bothers the character of this fragrance. It makes it docile. So it just sits somewhere and become a base or linear scent profile. Nothing much going on there. My conclusion would be that considering the price points of this fragrance, I got it for 15k. For me, 15k is not a lot of money compared to this texture of fragrance. The value proposition is there. I think what shines in this very fragrance is the presentation of this fragrance. The bottling feels very premium and that's what stands out. If you're also big on mahogany as a scent profile or as a note, it's going to be a 10-10-10 situation for you, except for the longevity and projection. And of course the CRG. But the scent profile is definitely going to do 100 for you because the mahogany here is excruciating, it's strong. Who should wear this? Anybody, right? Anybody can wear this. I feel like it's that linear. From 15 and above, this can happen to you. Just about anybody. I'm not sure I want to have someone in their 40s being this linear, less complicated. Or just maybe, to some people too, it's also a good thing. The older you get, the less complicated you want to, seem. You just need that contrast. You need something to contrast your personality. Or looking for a fragrance that would give you or that will leave you a more simplistic, easy to approach kind of vibe. This is definitely going to be your call. If you can afford it, 15k, and you like to experiment mahogany. If you want to express, a hurricane or tsunami of mahogany, then definitely go for this. You're going to have a blast. For me, this is one fragrance that will sit conveniently as a unisex fragrance because there's no complexity here. It doesn't lean towards one end or the other end. It's just in the middle. It tries to, and I usually don't like fragrances like that. It becomes difficult to use when a fragrance can't take a strong position, doesn't have a strong willpower. It doesn't work for me. This doesn't have a willpower. It's just in the middle. It's either here or there. And that's that about that. And see you in my next review. Have a great time.